Okay, I have a question, and anyone can answer this question. It doesn't matter if you're a Black American, aka FBA, if you're an immigrant, if you're a whole racist or half a racist. You can answer this question. If we Black Americans who are native to this country had such a fantastic relationship with multiple groups in this country, where's the evidence of that? Even some exes have great, superb relationships after the breakup. Where are the remnants of these so-called great relationships we've had with groups in the past? And if they were truly great and sincere, there will be evidence of it today. I'll be back. Hey, folks. Welcome back. Those who are returning. New folks, you're always welcome. And I would like to get to a point where I could say, even if you have a funky, nasty attitude, you're still welcome. Ooh, that's hard to do. I'm not even going to lie. But yeah, let's get into this. But wait, correction. I'm not going to tolerate verbal abuse. I'm not going to tolerate verbal abuse from direct towards me or those who are subscribed to my channel. It's not gonna happen. You people are allowed to express themselves, but do it with dignity. And I can't stand that one-sided condemnation. Black folks you, Black Americans you. And then I'm looking at every group that has something to say, and I'm like, wow, do you not look at your history in your country and around the world? You do not look at your history at all? Okay, let's get into this. Since those called Black Americans have basically stated that we drew a line in the sand, and we're saying, boom, don't cross that line. We're done. That saying, it goes like, do not ever cause someone who cared about you to stop caring. Yeah, pretty much. We got tired of being the people that always show compassion, always try to take a different route. We have. I was just looking at a video today. It kind of irritated me, though. It was a video of this Black family went into, it looked like a mall or something, or some kind of retail store. And what happened was her son-in-law or son was running through the store. I don't know if they forgot something in the car or something, and this white woman immediately accused him of running because he stole something. So of course the mother went off. This woman jumped up in her face, like chest bump type thing, and I was like, wow, she was bringing the smoke. The white woman did it. So that was assault. And you had the workers that was, talking, trying to talk the Black woman, trying to tell her to calm down, don't feed into it. It ain't worth it, Celie. I was like, oh, if I was there, I would have been like, step back, get out of my face for real. Stop acting like we don't know how to conduct ourselves. Because I'm going to tell you real talk. If we didn't, it wouldn't be too many of you guys on the earth. You could take it the way you want to take it. So stop trying to act like we're barbaric and violent like you. You got over 400 years of fury in the soil. So stop playing. But yeah, I didn't like it. It was like, she could speak up. She was like, I should call the police. Because when she bumped me, that was assault. Yeah, you know what? Don't give what she say? Don't give her what she wanted. It was like, it ain't about giving her what she wanted. It's about Stay in your lane. Stay out my business. Do you know that more white people steal from stores than anybody? Look it up since y'all like statistics. I know somebody who personally worked in a stationery store in the so-called rich part of Los Angeles. She said the main people that were coming in there stealing were white people dressed in white executives, dressed like executives. She said they were the main ones coming in there stealing. But yeah, my question, like I said, if we had such a fantastic relationship with you guys, where is it? You already know. I'm not including white races in this at all. I'm including these immigrants who now want to unify with us, who now want to openly admit to racism. Indians, Asians, Hispanic, now they want to talk about racism. So we know there are interferences. We know that. We know there is the usual suspect. We know that. But my question again, I have another question. When do other groups become accountable for their actions and their actions alone? Meaning, this word accountability, I'm so tired of hearing, because I don't think too many people know what accountability is, because if they did, they wouldn't keep throwing it out. You know, you got men saying women aren't accountable. You got black men saying, some black men saying black women aren't accountable. You got racists that say black people aren't accountable. You got Hispanics, everybody saying somebody's not accountable, right? When do immigrants take accountability? And what I mean by that is when you were told, or seeds were planted for you to be anti-black in order to get along and achieve in this country, why didn't you say no? Why didn't you say no? You said no because you don't want to be treated like us. But you see where that got you today. Double sword. You had a chance. You had a chance to stand on your morals, and you didn't. So listen to this. I want to play this. I want to play this clip from Malcolm X. Muhammad Ali. 2 clips from him, and then I'm gonna play another clip from a movie. Check this out.
In 1958, we couldn't eat in the restaurants in Louisville. We couldn't eat downtown. One day I saw 2 Africans go in with their robes and their turbans. They couldn't speak English. I heard the man say, "Let them in, they're not Negroes." And I said, "Something's wrong. I can't say it's because I'm black, because they're so black and they're blue, but they went in." So I said, "Well, I get my Olympic gold medal, then I'll go in." I went and got my gold medal, went back in, ordered 2 cheeseburgers, and they said, "Sorry, we don't serve Negroes." I said, "I don't eat them either. Just give me 2 cheeseburgers." And she said, "You getting smart." She called the manager and he said something about, "I don't care who he is." She said, "She's like, I don't care who he is." Anyway, but I couldn't. The idea was I couldn't either. So I got so angry. I drove to the Ohio River and stood there and looked at the gold medal. And I could imagine that American flag waving when they played the national anthem when I beat the Pole and Russian. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm standing with the medal on. Dun, 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 dun. I said, "Boy, I'm going back to Louisville. I can eat now. I can go to the restaurants, put them on the spot. They can't put me out there. I'm the champ of the world. I'm in a big country like Rome, representing the United States, one little city named Louisville, and now I done beat the whole world." Boy, dun, dun. They put me out of that restaurant. I said, "This medal ain't worth a damn." I've become so frustrated. Now I wish I still had it, because I wouldn't become as frustrated now. But at the time, I took that medal and said, "It ain't worth nothing. I don't care." I took it off my neck and said, "It ain't no good. It ain't. Don't you need more high ribbon." I hear there's problems in Australia just like there are in America and other countries. But to all of those, regardless of you're Australian, whether you're black or white, it's one thing I want you to always remember. It says, when we mistreat others, we are certainly mistreating the artists who created them.
Again, where was the unity? And you're not going to tell me that, they didn't know. If they came into this country in the 1900s with Pan-Africanism, you're not, and the reason why they wanted Pan-Africanism is we were supposedly supposed to unite to fight injustices and racism worldwide. Where was the unity? Now check out this next clip.
I've heard Elijah Muhammad say this: there are many white people who mean right and in heart want to do right. But there's so few. If 10,000 rattlesnakes was coming down that aisle now, and I had a door here I could shut, and in that 10,000, 1,000 meant right. 1,000 rattlesnakes didn't want to bite me. I knew they were good. Should I let all these rattlesnakes come down, hoping that 1,000 get together and form a shield? Or should I just close the door and stay safe? I think that you understand. The Viet Cong are not all bad, but America's still dropping bombs. In Hiroshima, Japan wasn't bad, but she still dropped the bomb. In Korea, they weren't bad, but they still dropped the bomb. So now I'm going to forget the 400 years of lynching and killing and raping and depriving my people of freedom, justice, equality, first fired, last hired, the lowest of low, last respected. And I'm going to look at 2 or 3 white people who are trying to do right and don't see the other million trying to kill me. I'm not that big of a fool.
He said it. He said what I say. To the ones who are really not racist in private and in public, you wouldn't continue to tolerate the ones who are. You would just get tired of it. You'll get tired of being quiet. You'll get tired of looking the other way, and you'll be like, you know what? I'm getting tired of y'all making us all look like this. If you stood against those who are the ones who are keeping the division going, and those are white races, they wouldn't have fuel to keep going. They wouldn't have. Your silence is propelling them forward. Your fear is keeping them going. And then you guys want us to be the one to end it. Or you want us to take the higher road and be like, you know what? Just ignore it. Just take the higher road. We are taking a higher road by confronting it. And then you have, if one of your family members or friend had cancer, would you tell them, hey, don't worry about it. Just ignore that big, bad, ugly cancer. And just let it go away on its own. Or are you going to recommend that they go to the doctor? That racism and hatred is rooted in you guys' community. It has to be uprooted. Okay, check out this next clip.
Just have a seat, have a drink, maybe sit down, have a nice little diatribe so we can work this out.
Don't take this personally, Romero. It's one's work. You do your thing, I do my thing. It's one's work. We can't work without kata.
Kata. What is this? Kata? Black American? Cotton picker.
It's as I have been saying, and other content creators have been saying, the disrespect has always been there. That movie was a clip from Wesley Snipes' movie. I think it was called Blue Hill or something. That came out like in the 90s. And, if it wasn't an issue, if somebody didn't have a problem with it, they for damn sure wouldn't have put it in the movie. It's always been there. So, as I said in the short, we're the ones that's always supposed to just sit there and be people punching bags and welcome mats. Everybody else can, they could do and say the most damnedest things about us online for the whole public to hear. And we're supposed to be like, oh, it's okay. They're still our brother and sister. It's okay. No. Like I keep saying, people will treat you the way you let them treat you. Now, I want to point out something that happened a couple of years ago in Los Angeles. That elusive black and brown coalition that we never see, that only rears its head when they need something. Remember? Let's stroll back to 2022. The infamous recording of Nuri Martinez and her cronies planning to steal districts that are in the black communities. Well, we supposedly had these great relationships with these people, though. Okay, I'm going to read an excerpt from PBS article that was published October the 11th, 2022. The group discussed the city's redrawing of council district boundaries as well as the need to re-elect Latino members and protect economic interests within Latino districts, the Los Angeles Times, which obtained the recording, reported. Yeah. They wanted to take from us to do for themselves. You see that? You don't go out there and fight like we had to fight and stand and get what we had. You wanted to steal it from us. These are some leeches. But we're lazy though. But you're trying to steal from us, but we're lazy. And you had the ability to go out there and fight and get your own like we did. These things weren't given to us, fool. We had to fight for them. And still fight for them today. But the only thing that makes it worse is you got these immigrants they put in these political positions, which I don't understand how they're even able to have these political positions. And then they're up there speaking against us, but playing in the public like they're speaking for us. But some are bold where they don't even care that we hear what they say about us or speaking against us. If you're going to talk about Latino districts, what kind of districts are you trying to create? Martinez asked at one point. You're just going to create poor Latino districts with nothing. That is not our problem, honey. That is not our problem. And if you studied any of our history, you would know we always had to start from scratch. They made sure, white racists made sure that we always started from scratch. And then they were amazed at what we accomplished. Yeah, don't lie. You were amazed. Still amazed today. You know how many white racist children listen to our music out loud in front of everybody or in private? Lord have mercy. On the recording, Los Angeles County Federation of Labor President Ron Herrera expressed the need for caution in handling a district held by a black councilman who had been indicted on federal corruption charges. He warned that the black community could look at it as a hostile takeover because politically they're going to come after us, Herrera said on the recording. You even have some Latinos that was smart enough to know that is not a good move. I remember somebody said we had the smallest group that'll show up to demonstrations or LA council meetings, city council meetings. We might have the smallest numbers, but we're the loudest. Y'all ain't learned yet? So, okay, let's continue. Jamie Regalado, former executive director of the Pat Brown Institute of Public Affairs at California State University, Los Angeles, said the recording reveals the nature of political power struggles that often play out beyond public view. What we are hearing on the tape is everybody else be damned, especially the black American community. That's how they are. That's how they are. Black politicians are trying to protect what they have. At the same time, you can understand that Latino wishes on the council, given the growing Latino population. He said, that is not our business. That's not our business. That is not our concern. You handle your business and what you guys have to do, just like we've done what we've had to do and continue to do it. In 2005, when Democratic Antonio Villar, it's hard to ever say his name, but he was the mayor of Los Angeles, became the first Latino mayor in more than a century. He had to overcome fears in the black community that if he was elected, black people would be ousted from government jobs and replaced by Latinos, and that is what they did. They took the jobs and started pushing black folks out. When he was a candidate, he talked about overcoming the black-brown divide that can breed violence. Even he had sense enough to not say black and brown coalition. And he was the mayor. Black leadership was worried about potentially losing his black U.S. House seats in Southern California amid shifting demographics. Black folks, I read an article when this first went down with Nuri Martinez. I read an article. It was a Times article, LA Times article, and they said that black people wield a lot of political power in California, and I did not know that. You got to wonder, where is it? Why are you hiding it? Who are you using that political power for? Why are black people still becoming more homeless? Why are black people... I read that black people in Southern California were the ones who were being evicted the most. So, what's really going on? It's time for me to step to these black folks that wield a lot of political power. And you might think I'm just talking. I'm not. Find out what you're doing with that power, and do you need to get fired or replaced or both? In LA, the Latino population has been growing for decades and now represents about half the population. And you want to know why so many here? Because of open borders. Latinos have long said their representation on the council falls below their share of the population, while blacks have maintained an outsized representation despite compromising a relatively small share of the city residents. What did I just tell you? The black folks in California have a lot of power. I want to know where it is. Why are you hiding it? In other words, we could shut this city and state down. Keep playing. Somebody gonna go and we gonna snatch that power that y'all hiding and hoarding and shut the state down. You keep playing. The heavily Democratic city gave rise to a prominent line of black politicians, including former Mayor Tom Bradley and U.S. Maxine Waters. I don't know what to say about that woman. I have to do some research on her. All I know is she's been in politics for years. She is a career politician. And her district was over Watts, California. I know that she has some vocational schools built. I know people who went there and they didn't have a problem with her programs. But, it's so much more you could have done, But you wouldn't be a career politician if you actually got your ass up in those positions to actually help. Like I said, and I'm going to keep saying, if you really wanted to help black folks, you would not have become a politician. Facts. Fernando Guerrera of the City for the Study of Los Angeles at Loyola Marymount University called the racist language horrific, but added that the recording underscored the reality of politics. Once power is gained, you are not going to give it to someone else. And that's what a lot of these immigrants don't effing understand. The things that we had to go through in this country, nothing was given to us. I don't care what these fools, these white racists went back and told you. It's a damn lie. And if you go, you could go look, you can look at the videos I've done, and you could go look at other content creators who talk about black history, black American history. We weren't given anything. And then you want to talk about emancipation, real talk? We emancipated ourselves because they kept having revolts. They take that part of history out because they don't want you to know how much we fought for freedom. How these enslavers were terrified because they kept becoming unalived. Their forms will be burnt down and their animals will be destroyed because our people constantly fought some kind of way. Like, okay, you gonna put me in chains, you gonna treat me less than an animal, I'm gonna make your life hell. They gave what they got. I wanted to talk a little bit about what the Asians did. I wanted to paint a little colorful picture of these great, beautiful coalitions we had with other groups in the past. So beautiful, these coalitions that a racist persuaded Asians to fight against affirmative action, which was not ever used to help us. I just did a short of a white man, since y'all want to believe us. A white man said that these people, a lot of those colleges knew that affirmative action was not helping black Americans. Let's talk about affirmative action, and how Asians accuse black Americans of keeping them from getting into colleges. Now, you heard what's going on now. After they removed it, homeboy dipped out. He was like, thank you, clowns. Thank you so much. And they're still having a hard time. From what I heard, Asians are still having a hard time getting in college. So who can you blame now? Who can your ass blame now? So easily persuaded to believe lies. You want me to tell you why they believe lies? Because they want to. They want to believe the worst about us until it's too late. We somehow always benefit from these federal programs, yet you rarely see traces of us benefiting from these programs. Here's an excerpt from an article about affirmative action being removed. In the first college admissions process since the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action last year, Asian American enrollment at the most prestigious U.S. schools paints a mixed, uneven picture. Some Ivy League schools, including Columbia and Brown University, showed an increase in Asian Americans for the class of 2028, while others like Yale and Princeton showed a decrease. Harvard, the most selective of the group, didn't see a change at all, according to the enrollment numbers released on Wednesday by the school. And if we were the ones keeping your ass out of college, why hasn't it changed dramatically? Experts said that it may take years to see the definitive impact of the decision which restricted the consideration of race in college admissions, but it didn't have the effect that many who opposed the policy had expected. The big takeaway is that folks who supported the lawsuit were saying this would be such a big win for Asians, that race-based admissions was some type of barrier to our upward mobility, said Ayan Poon, faculty affiliate at the University of Illinois Urbana Campaign Office of Community College Research and Leadership. What we're seeing is that that's not really bearing out, Poon said. Damn, I would feel like the biggest fool. I'll be like, damn, they got us again. Black folks, can you please help us? Even though we turn and we betrayed you and turn against you again. Can you find it in your hearts, Black Americans? As I said, we have embraced Africans on American soil. The question is, was it reciprocated? That's the question that we keep asking, and people never, when I ask those questions in comments, I ask the question often, where has it been reciprocated? Where have are embracing people and helping other groups, where has it been reciprocated? And I never get an answer. What I'm seeing online is people saying the white man is causing the division, or Black Americans have self-hatred or confusion. Were we confused when we fought for rights you take advantage of? When will Africans take accountability? When will other groups take accountability? You came here with your hostility and preconceived notions of us, of course fueled and planted by races. Granted, some of those hostilities were created by white racists, but when do you stop allowing yourself to subscribe to the negative, dark rhetoric from a group that has systemically oppressed every group? It's like, when are you gonna get it? If they are in your country oppressing you, and I'm not just talking about African countries, I'm talking about Asia, I'm talking about West Indies, I'm talking about whatever country they could go and sink their teeth in, they have oppressed you. So if they're over there doing that to you, what makes you think they weren't doing it to us? Okay. It's at a point where I believe you have subscribed to their dark untruth because you want to. I want to read a little bit of this article that I found about the strained relationships between Black Americans and African Americans. The first reason to consider is the comparison debate between Black Americans and African Americans about who has suffered or continues to suffer the most. We begin by considering the latter historical slavery struggles, which has obviously spilled over and transformed into the present day inequality and equity that are continuously forced to endure, or they are. History clearly made us realize the dehumanizing and disheartening low level of inhumane treatments and conditions that they had to go through before slavery ended, and it's no longer news that the present American structure and system is continuously finessed to favor Caucasians who are majority over the minority blacks. I don't agree with them saying we're minority. I really don't. I don't believe it. I don't believe anything that majority of white people control when it comes to numbers, and that infamous statistics. I don't believe them. With this understanding, some black Americans always see African immigrants as opportunists who are profiting from their struggles despite not having shared in their pains or experienced the horrible and derogatory racial discriminations like they did, which is a reason for their mutual relationship with white Americans. They believe Africans do not share in their ideology and are unwilling to participate in their political and civil rights movements. No, they haven't. Like, I ask a lot of groups, people who come running their mouth, I'm like, where are your civil rights movements? When have you guys had a successful civil rights movement? If you haven't, you need to be quiet. On the other hand, Africans continuously grieve their pathetic level of underdevelopment, which evidence suggests came as a result of European invasion. As earlier stated, the entire African continent was developing at a steady pace, but lost the plot when valuable human and material resources were taken by the colonists. According to Nathan Nunn, slavery is the major factor of Africa's underdevelopment till date, a phenomenon which has created ethnic fractionalization and undermined the effectiveness of several African nations. Recent studies suggest Africa's 72% average income gap with the rest of the world would not have existed if not for slave trade. He believes the reason for the continent's poor economic performance is due to the effect of slave trade, colonialism, which has led to the endless poverty and insistent conflict, poor leadership, basic social amenities and infrastructure, over-dependency on foreign aid, poor health and educational facilities, amongst other challenges. It also affects the present cultural and social outcomes of the continent, responsible for the present ethnic division, trust concerns, HIV prevalence, ethno-religious differences, and a high rate of polygamy, the practice of men having multiple wives, amongst other factors that continuously push the continent back. Another reason to consider is the trust issues that exist between the two races. So many black Americans have some misconceptions that Africans cannot be trusted due to their willingness in allowing their fellow brothers and sisters to be taken or sold into slavery, while some perceive them to be highly promiscuous due to the high rate of polygamy in the region. To point out the fallacy with the former studies have revealed that majority of African slaves were captured through acts of kidnappings, raids, and warfare, and through judicial processes, while only a few were literally sold by their relatives or friends as slaves. Okay, well, you know what? Here's the thing. I didn't read the whole article. I just wanted to take a snippet out, but I can possibly post the article in the description, or if you want to read the article, ask me and I'll post it in the description. If not, I like to keep my resources to myself. You understand. But because like I said, I work for these resources. The information I gather for you guys and the information that I subscribe to and have to pay for monthly, I want to keep them to myself. There's nothing wrong with that. But here's the thing. I have been saying this for years, and I recently heard people online saying it. You know what Africa's biggest problem is? The whole continent. It's been cursed because of the few that they have put. I personally believe that the ones that they did put in slavery, who were in South Africa, I believe those were the Hebrews that was running, because the Hebrews were always persecuted. They were all over the world running for shelter, disobedient, always running and hide because somebody wanted to take them out. I believe they went to Africa or parts of Africa and they were snatched up, because the Hebrews are all the true God's chosen are always hated. And they're hated for that fact. They're chosen. So I believe the ones that were put in slavery, who were in Africa, were the true Hebrews. And then, like I said, we were all over the world. If all you got to do is pick up a book, folks. Pick up a doggone book. I don't want to say damn. I enjoy books. I have my own personal library of fiction and nonfiction books. But pick up a book. We were all over this world. And as I keep saying, we were in this country before slavery. I read this book and when I took African American history years ago, before the Mayflower. That is a great tool that it will teach you your history. It will teach you why the first people that were put into slavery, and they would explain to you why they had Spanish names, because they were captured in Spain. And you would think they're the clear, transparent, almost transparent Hispanics today, and they weren't. Okay. I'm about to shut down the shop. Thank you guys who came all the way to the end and listened to this entire video. I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you for your efforts in supporting this channel. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.